Hey everybody, this is Strategywizard again, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Klask, which is, upside down, Klask, which is designed by Mikkel Bertelsen. It's a two-player game. There's probably a good chance you've heard of it. From my understanding, it's actually extremely popular. I haven't heard a lot about it myself personally, but it seems like I'm kind of under a rock, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. But Klask is a two-player dexterity game that it reminds me of air hockey or stuff like that, where you're trying to knock something into someone else's goal. But this is a game it's interestingly designed as far as well, you'll see. I'll show you. I'll just go ahead and go down the table. Let's show you, and then I will tell you what I think when we come back up. Okay, so here's the setup for Klask. It's very simple. Each player has their piece that they'll be using to hit the ball around. You have two score markers that roll into the different point slots all the way up to 6 points. Whoever gets to 6 points will win. There's three little magnets that go in the middle in these designated spots that, it's not magnetized to the board, but it will magnetize to your piece if you get close to it. And that is the setup. Of course, what you can't see is that underneath here there's this magnetic piece that you're going to hold. This is what helps you move your piece around from underneath. Now, basically, the goal of the game is to get the 6 points by a few ways. The points are earned by knocking the ball into your opponent's little ring here, or hole. There's, if you get two magnets on your piece, your opponent gets a point, so you want to be careful not to get too close to the center. Not only that, but as you're hitting the ball around, it's easy to hit these magnets and you can knock them into your opponent. So that's one strategy. You want to try to not only get the ball into the hole, but you also want to knock the magnets onto your opponent's side, because there's a wooden piece that you can't see that's right down the middle. So you cannot ever get, if I'm grabbing this, I can't really get at my, I can get this far if I don't grasp the whole shaft. I can just get right here and that's it. So you can't go on the other person's side, which is important. So you want to knock those magnets to their side. That way they have a chance of accidentally running into it. So let's go back over that. You can knock the ball into someone's hole. You can, if you get two magnets on you, your opponent gets a point. You can get points by, if someone drops their piece down inside their hole where they can't get out, you get a point. Actually, even if they find a way to get out, which it would be very hard, although you might get lucky, the other person still gets a point. And also, if you ever lose your piece, and this could happen a few ways, if you start getting really wild with your movement under here, you could lose your piece like that. And if you can't get it back up, then your opponent gets a point. As soon as somebody gets a point, and one way that could happen is if you accidentally fling it that way and goes across to their other person's side, it's literally impossible to get it back up because you can't go over to that side with your magnet. So those are the ways to get points, and once you get to 6, you win. You could kind of look at this as like a version of air hockey, of course, if you want to, but it's with more stuff going on, because the fact that you can actually knock yourself into your own spot here and that makes your opponent get a point means that you have to be careful where you move on your side. You have to be careful with the ball because, as it's bouncing around, just like in air hockey, you could get unlucky. It could bounce back and fall into your goal, and so it's also easy to hit the ball into your own goal. But the magnets being out here, hitting them and trying to knock them into your opponent is another great way to try to, come out victorious. Here's the thing: as soon as someone gets a point, you reset everything. So you automatically put all the magnets back and everything. And whoever did not get a point, whichever person didn't get a point, they get to put the ball in one of their two corner spots to start the next round. Now, the other important thing you need to know is you cannot get two points or more in one turn. And the reason why that's significant is, let's say for some reason this ball is coming over here and I'm trying to block it, but I fall in and the ball goes here, my opponent still only gets 1 point. They don't get 2 points from me falling in and the ball getting in my goal. So 1 point at a time is the most you can get. You start keeping track of your points, rolling these little things. Oh boy, I'm about to win. Until somebody wins, and then you restart at 0 and play again. So it's pretty straightforward, as you can see. I'll do just a little bit of, let's see, I wonder if I can do both sides. Boy, that might be tough. But let's just see what I can do. Just to give an example. Oh wait, this magnet fell. Here we go. So we might put over here, this person. Oh snap. already got a magnet on my side. Let's see. Ooh. There we go. Oh, I fell in. So well, since I fell in first, my opponent would get the point. I would not get a point. And then we'd reset. I didn't get a point, so I would go back over here. That is how you play the game. So let's go ahead and go up top, and I'll tell you what I think. Okay, so you can see that Klask, if you didn't already know about it, you can tell that Klask is a pretty unique experience here. The fact that you reach under the table and you are moving magnets to manipulate your attack, your piece to knock the ball into your opponent's goal. Very interesting. For one, it's cool to watch because all the movement seems to be happening on its own, and for the players, it keeps your hand from being an obstacle to your vision. So that's just a cool thing all by itself. And, you know, I don't know, the design choices here, to me, are enough to kind of tell you everything you need to know. It's unique, it's different, and yet it gives you things that you're familiar with. Trying to knock something into someone else's goal, trying to block and everything else. It just does it in a very awesome way. So you can kind of get an idea where I'm going already. But basically, replayability is awesome because any game like air hockey or whatever, it's just a great physical dexterity challenge against someone else, and that's just got replayability built into it. I don't think I really need to say anything else about that. But what I will say is, component quality wise, it's pretty top notch. I mean, these magnets, super strong. I mean, these are great. Now, take that with one little grain of salt because they're so strong. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a little bit of a squeaky sound that I have sometimes whenever I'm moving my pieces, and I think it has something to do with this part right here rubbing up against the top of the board. But I've heard, and that's not a deal breaker or anything, it's a little annoying sometimes for me, and I don't know, maybe I'm unusual in having that problem, but I'm ordering something that people say is little mouse circles for underneath your mouse to make them move smoother. They're supposed to help with this. I'm going to try it and see how much of a difference that makes. But apart from that, I like the components, the way they look, how strong the magnets are, the way the board is built, and everything's put together and pre-assembled nicely. There's little rubber pads on the bottom to make sure the thing doesn't shift around on a smooth surface. There's really, and the little magnets in the center, they're not, you know, super fancy or anything, just a little white block, but they get the job done. They're very functional, and the fact that if you get just close to it, they just plop up and attach themselves to your piece is really nice. So very, very pleased with the look of the game and all that stuff. Component quality is nice. And then as far as strategy goes, for a game like this, there's more strategy, I think, than typical for this type of game, in the sense that there's more to think about. Maybe strategy isn't the right word, except for the fact that you can decide, you actually make a choice. Do I want to just hit the ball at an angle to try to, you know, ricochet off the wall and come from behind and to get their goal, or do I want to aim for those magnets and try to knock them in to my opponent, or at least keep them in on his side of the board? That gives you an interesting choice right off the bat. And also, you just have to be generally aware of not getting too close back in the middle because you can fall in your own goal, or if there are magnets close to you, you have to be careful how you move. And all those things make it to where there's just more stuff going on, and I like that. And also the fact that if you lose control of your piece and you can't get it back up, you give a point to your opponent. That's cool because it makes people not want to be too aggressive, because you can lose your piece if you're not careful. So all those things work together to make it to where there's just more going on than a typical this style two-player dexterity game. I'm really impressed. So I easily give this a 9 out of 10. I mean, I am just stoked about this game. It's just awesome for what it is. I can't believe how well designed, how well thought out it is. So me and Nathan have been playing it quite a bit, and we're both enjoying it so much, because you always, even Nathan is doing better than usual whenever it comes to, you know, whenever he loses. You know, sometimes he'll get a little bummed out whenever he loses, but here he doesn't even get bummed out at all. He's just ready to play again because it's just exciting and it's thrilling, and it stays engaging all the time. So big recommendation for me. And if Nathan was doing this review with me, which he didn't want to do this one with me, but if he was, I'm sure I think he told me he'd give it a 10. So there you go. This game is just really nice. So I just have to say, if you like this kind of game, two-player dexterity, trying to hit something into someone else's goal, just get it. I would just buy it. It's just a no-brainer to me. So that's what I have to say about it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I'll get back to them. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. And if you want to see more, subscribe and you will see more videos. And I plan to put a playthrough of Klask so you can see me and Nathan play a game of it, and so you can see all the action and everything. And that way, hopefully that'll be helpful for you if this wasn't enough to convince you, because honestly I'm trying to convince you to buy it. But it's great, so go ahead and just go out and buy it and come back and see more videos later. I'll see you then. Bye.